And I would like to welcome my distinguished guest. We have two panelists today. So I would like to welcome Gergely Orsolya from Sapientia Hungarian University of Transylvania, who is a sociologist, associate professor, and a civil activist, not only, but for women entrepreneurs and science communications. But this is only the two topics I mentioned from her work. And also I would like to welcome Nieves Garcia Pereira from the Andalusia Emprende organization. And Nieves has more than 20 years of experience in project management and expertise in business advice, business training, and like in general, but with a focus on developing entrepreneurship and supporting women entrepreneurs as well. So our two guests here is the project coordinator at their organization because they are both their institute both are beneficiaries of the RE-FEM project. And today we are here to talk about our experience of organizing word cafes and engaging policymakers, which is always whoever implement and coordinate an EU-funded project knows that this is one of the hardest activity to do, to involve the policymakers and to reach them and to reach them with the outputs we create and engage them in conversation with us. So we would like to talk about this experience and the results we gathered from this event of the Word Cafes. So like briefly draw the context for this Word Cafe. So this was one of the main activities we implemented in our project. We have 7 countries in our project, and we organized work cafes in each of the project countries. And these work cafes aim to engage different stakeholders, such as the women entrepreneurs, the policymakers, heads of NGOs supporting women entrepreneurs. And we created 5 topics for the Word Cafes, and in each of the project countries, we deliver the Word Cafes focusing on the same 5 subtopics. And these 5 subtopics was the invisible work, like every woman has to deal with it, and the challenges in the entrepreneurship, but with a focus on the rural women, so women living or operating their businesses in rural areas, and of course the digital transformation. And then the next subtopic was around the investments, the growth, and the finances. And the 5th topic, which is like a highlighted topic in our project, is the entrepreneurial education for women entrepreneurs. So under these 5 topics, we were talking about the needs, the challenges, and we try to gather recommendation as well. So I would like to invite you, Orsolya and Nieves, to talk about your Word Cafes. First of all, please reflect on how you organized it. What was the feedback of your Word Cafe? So just briefly evaluate it, how you succeed with organizing this and what happened at your Word Cafes. And let's start with Orsolya, with you with the first question.
Okay, greetings from Csíkszereda, Miercureaciuc from Romania, where now it's raining at this very moment. And thank you, Kata, for moderating this RE-FEM talk. And Nieves is very always glad to participate in any kind of discussions with you. So our Word Cafe event was organized in the second part of May, 22nd of May, and organizing the Word Cafe events was genuinely and a rewarding experience for me, and I would confidently describe it as both timely and highly relevant to the needs of women entrepreneurs, particularly in Romanian context, and particularly for the women living in rural areas. From the very beginning, we noticed a very high level of interest from diverse stakeholders, including academics, local, but even national government representatives. In Romania, there are only 5 Hungarian women who are member of the national parliament, and we managed to invite 2 of them, which is a very, very great deal, and were able to attend this event, even if we organized the event in Miercurea, not in Bucharest. And NGO workers from representatives of women organizations and of course entrepreneurs from both urban and rural areas, but mainly from rural. This diversity of backgrounds enriched discussions and provided a holistic view of the challenges, needs, and opportunities and point of views, and all the difficulties that women entrepreneurs face in the post-COVID era. The feedbacks we received clearly confirmed that the value of the event, that it's a need for this kind of events. Most participants rated the event as excellent or very good, and no negative feedback were received. So after this, I could say that there is a huge need for this kind of events when not a huge number of participants, but 20, 30, 40 people are discussing, and several attendees specifically highlighted the opportunity to have meaningful, open, and honest discussions across sectors and people coming from different backgrounds, as this was, I think, a major strength. And this kind of format, the Word Cafe, I was not familiar previous, but this format of the Word Cafe was particularly very well received, and participants appreciated the structured yet flexible approach, which allowed them to have deep conversation while encouraging openness and honest sharing. One of the most frequent comments was how empowering it was to feel that their voice, their point of views, their opinion mattered, and that their experience could shape future policy recommendation, or even could have a place in this kind of discussion. A member of the national parliament and one person, small micro entrepreneur, so they can stay at the same table and discussing, and they both of them have to have relevant opinion. So I think despite of a limited time frame, participants succeeded in identifying key challenges, sharing personal experiences, and generating actionable recommendation, which I think is very important. I don't know if I have more time. I can speak the whole day, but maybe I leave some time for Nieves as well.
Yeah, so thank you for elaborating on your experience in such a detail. Just very briefly, I would like also to share that this was kind of the same experience we have in Hungary. So that this event created like a platform, a unique platform for those who are the active players in supporting women entrepreneurs. But let's see what were the experience gathered by the Spanish group. Nieves,
Okay.
please share your
Yes.
experience.
Yes, good morning from Cádiz in Andalusia, Spain. Sorry about the rain in Romania. Here is sunny and we have 25 degrees. Well,
Only.
only 25 degrees by this time. I also want to thank Katalin for counting on me and Orsi for sharing her experience with us. Well, from an organizational perspective, the event here in Spain was highly relevant and timely because it created a unique and safe space for women entrepreneurs to share not only professional insights, but also deeply personal experiences.
Mhm.
So the feedback we received was highly positive. Participants valued the diversity of the profiles, ranging from women in tech, agriculture, education, seafaring, livestock farming to those in creative industries. And they appreciated the open, non-hierarchical format of the World Cafe, which allowed every voice to be heard. That was very important. And in terms of content, the participants praised the quality and pertinence of the discussion topics, particularly how each topic connected to real challenges they face in their real life, in their day-to-day entrepreneurial journeys. Several women mentioned that it was one of the few occasions where they felt their insights could actually feed into policy. We thought that was a very, very important remark. However, one common piece of feedback was the need for more time per discussion round because uh, they felt they had a short time, given the richness of these changes they would like to share, but they would have liked to have more time to go deeper into the discussions. Although on the positive side, all the main issues could be discussed, and they felt very well doing that.
I think it was really important that you mentioned that the whole, so the format of Word Cafe created a safe space. I think
Yes.
it's really important that you mentioned because as you just said that many participants share their own insights, experiences. Yeah, so in overall, we witnessed that this was a really good format to engage both the decision makers and so the end users, the women entrepreneurs as well. And you already started to talk about Nieves, about that they shared their real challenges. So in the next question, let's focus on the discussions, so on the topics you discussed. So what were the topics which sparked the most interest, and which were the topic the less interest. So if you could share something about how the discussion was formed.
Okay, in fact, all 5 topics generated active engagement, but the discussion on invisible work and investment and growth stood out for their intensity and emotional depth. So the invisible workload, caregiving, domestic responsibilities, emotional labor resonated strongly across generations and sectors, especially when participants shared how these responsibilities constrained their ability to grow their businesses or access opportunities. So the women also insisted that care work should be seriously professionalized. They insisted quite a lot on that. And at the political level, tax breaks should be created for it. Uh, Regarding the investment topic, it also sparked a rich debate with many women sharing experiences of being refused loans or facing stricter requirements than their male peers. There was a strong sense of frustration around bureaucratic hurdles and the lack of tailored financial instruments. And as for the challenges, the topic of women in underrepresented sectors occasionally touch on uncomfortable truth. For example, participants openly discuss experiences of institutional discriminations or internalized biases, which led to moments of emotional vulnerability. Nonetheless, this discomfort was productive because it helped surface barriers that are often ignored in formal settings.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. What was like surprising me with with the discussion of with the participants in our word cafe is that so the invisible talking about the invisible work, that was like one of the highlights of the discussion, and in the sense that they share that there are like always challenges in connection to invisible work, care work. It was not surprising at all, but was a little bit surprising for me that it easily turned out to a discussion of the invisible work as business opportunities. So it was like immediately we could witness the entrepreneurial mindset of the participants. Okay, so Olshiv, was there any like different in case of the Romanian Word Cafe? And how was the like discussion in your case?
Yes, as well as Nieves also mentioned that all 5 topics were very intense, created very intense discussions. But I would say that the topic of invisible work ran through all the topics. So this was main topics or the root of every topic, that even when we talked about digital transformation or when we discussed the lack of finances, always the participants returned to the invisible work, and everything was connected to this. So it was mainly a meta level of the topics, but I would say that among the 5 discussion topic, the digital transformation was the main, emerged as the one that generated the highest level of engagement. Participants were very particularly responsive to discussions about integrating digital tools and artificial intelligence into their business. Were mentioned that they are very open to learn and very eager to learn, and they emphasize that in today's competitive market, if you are not visible, you don't play. And they also formulated that digital transformation could help them to boost their business. And another topic was about discussions related to investment and growth. And I earlier I thought that this is the less interesting topic, but this created the most discussion, that they rolled and enrolled and listed a long list of the lack of digital financial literacy, of financial skills, knowledge, management skills. So this was a very I would say a topic which is very pain, full of pain. And also was formulated that one speaker shared a powerful example that financial literacy should begin from early childhood in schools and in families. And they feel that being women, they have a lack of this kind of literacy, and they should or need to learn much more to be more competitive in the market.
Yeah, so the entrepreneurial learning education is one of our main topics within the project. So we also had 2 rounds of discussion about education of women entrepreneurs, and very similar results we received within the Hungarian Word Cafe is that education needs to be started even in primary school about finances and just entrepreneurship, or the entrepreneurial mind, capacity building for creating an entrepreneurial mind. So thank you for sharing that. And let's move towards the recommendation. You already started to talk about that, what kind of needs came up. And before I give the floor back to you, I just would like to say that there are opportunities for entering question under the Q&A tab. So those participants who have a question, please start entering your question, and I think we will have time to answer your question by the end of our discussion. So let's move towards the recommendation. So what kind of recommendation you collected? Was there anything surprising for you? And what are the suggestions you collected address to solve? Orsi, can we start with you at this
Yes,
time?
the recommendation collected from participants were notable diverse, reflecting the multifaceted challenges that women entrepreneurs face. Among the most striking suggestions were calls for one was enhanced digital training and support. Not only one workshop, but maintained training and support. Participants advocated for comprehensive regular training on digital tools, including practical sessions on AI integration, and they emphasized that they would need in women-only groups, because they mentioned that in hybrid women and men also they are not so courageous to ask and to mention that I don't understand this or that. So especially for women only, and streamingly access to funding. And that was a very important recommendation, that to include in funding mentality from subsidies and from national and local governments to deal with the women needs, and to have access to funding only for women entrepreneurs. So to be included in this woman point of view, and strengthening community networks and mentoring. Mentoring especially, there were a few participants who are active mentors, have 20, 30 years of entrepreneurial experience, and they shared that it's very helpful even for them as mentors, and to be this not only somehow something is in this year, but to be constant and from diverse sectors and from diverse NGOs and local and national state administrative sectors. So to networks and mentoring, and tailored context-sensitive educational programs and platforms, because these women entrepreneurs are very open to learn, but they have a lot of accessories. They are not taken in context when somebody organize the educational program, that to be during work hours from 9 to 4, to be even hybrid, digital, or online or offline as well. So to be more attentive on educational program design, that these women they have other duties as well.
Okay, so to sum very briefly, so regular training, mentoring, training sensitive to women's needs, mentoring tailored to women's needs, and community building, which also address the needs of women. Okay, let's see what kind of recommendation you collected, Nieves, in Andalusia.
Okay, I won't go on too long, as there are quite a few things in common with what Orsi has already mentioned. So, in Spain, several recommendations were repeated across tables, revealing consensus around some key structural challenges. These include the urgent need to professionalize care work, as I mentioned before, implement realistic work-life balance policies, and reform access to funding with a gender-sensitive lens. Participants also called for more digital mentoring and training. What a surprise, especially tailored to women entrepreneurs in rural areas or in transition phases. What stood out most was the strategic clarity with which these women identified solutions, many of which pointed to existing gaps in policy execution rather than a lack of frameworks. I think that's important. One emerging theme was that was particularly striking was the need to shift the narrative. Women wanted more visibility as economic agents, not only as beneficiaries of support, but drivers of innovation and growth. Another reflection was the suggestion that future events should include men, not to dilute the focus, but because a real gender transformation requires shared responsibility. It was a sign of maturity in the conversation around gender equity, because without men on our side, real equity will never be possible. And it was striking that one woman said that she did not attend the World Cafe because she felt that women do too much voluntary work, which adds to the invisible work, and that we should value ourselves by asking to be paid when we go to share our experiences. I think it was an important point to think about.
Yes, definitely. And yeah, definitely. And this is also a good point for a next project, how to like develop a next project and what kind of finances to include, which supports the voice of women entrepreneurs. And I just would like to highlight 2 points, what you were mentioned, because I think this is really important. Yeah, first of all, we see that we collected very similar recommendation from each of the countries. But I think 2 points is very important, what you mentioned, Nieves. One is the agency of the women entrepreneurs. It came up in other countries to talk about the visibility, but so what we would like to show about the women entrepreneurs in the society. And I think it's important that there is a need to show them as capable, like active players of the economics. So it points out that there are a sort of needs to speak differently on women entrepreneurs in the society. And the other important point is the involvement of the men, which also shows that the challenges, the needs women entrepreneurs facing is a matter for the whole society. So I think these were all like important things to mention, other than the recommendation we are like or aware of that. And further, and so by the end, I would like to ask that so there the noise is really like loud about supporting women entrepreneurs. So that's why I would like to ask if there was any good practice mentioned during the World Cafes, what you would like to like say that this is really like working well. So was there anything mentioned as a good example, a good practice?
Well,
Nieves, yeah, please
yeah.
go ahead.
One inspiring example, a simple one, came from a participant who leads a small ecotourism company in a rural coastal area. And during the pandemic, when tourist flows dropped dramatically, she pivoted to offering virtual experiences and partnered with local women artisans to sell handmade products online. So her ability to mobilize a local network and make use of digital tools, even with limited training, was a testament to the power of collaborative resilience. So this very simple story shows many of the key ingredients that emerge during the event: peer support, adaptability, and visibility. And it also underscores the importance of investing in digital capacity and building horizontal networks, elements that proved to be not just helpful, but vital during crisis periods.
Yes, I think we clearly received this message from the participant that the community building somehow has to be connected with this digital capacity building. Okay, Oshi, do you have an example to mention and share with us?
Yes, plenty of good practices were shared, but I choose the one which I like very much. One of the participants told an inspiring story. The woman entrepreneurs who is mentioned was not participating at this event, but they are good friends, and she told her story that she inherited from her parents an entrepreneur firm which deals with interior design and home dining industry. They are making beautiful things for dining and eating and home designing. So since she took over the firm, she involves her children, 10, 12 years old, involves her children in several in bigger decisions. Even they took their kids to discussion between business discussion and involving in decision making, that even the 10 years old and 12 years old, sometimes, not always and not in all things, but they are sitting around the table and listening to these business discussions, and they can they say their opinion. I think this is not everybody can do this, but this is a very good example that children can be involved in different activities, and they can learn. If their mother is an entrepreneur, that they can learn about their decision process and how they can access funding and so on and so forth. So I think this is a very visible example that children can be from early childhood to be a help in this financial literacy.
Well, yeah, thank you. That's a very unique way of educating the next generation of business women and businessmen. So thank you for sharing your experiences. We don't receive any question from the participants, but I think we already provided lots of insights. And I think from your sharing your experiences, I think it is obvious that it was like a huge success to implement these word cafes, and we can say that yes, it was a successful way for engaging policymakers and other kind of stakeholders. And I also hope that we provided good insights for the next or any tips for next project to build for supporting women entrepreneurs. So thank you again your participation, and have a nice day to all of you.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you.